Hello, my name is Jared Hoon, and I'd like to talk about my second project for entering the music tech, which is learning how to um, do a basically building up a recording studio from scratch, or at least if you are doing a home studio, or whether we're upgrading a current one or whatever it could be. And so, kind of the purpose, for me anyway, when it comes to recording studio, is having a home studio. Now, kind of the reason why I would like to have a home studio is because I would like to not necessarily have to, at least when I'm not doing anything for a certain amount of time, not having to carry drums anywhere or anything like that. Now, it may seem like studios or um, may not be possible all the time just because obviously when I'm performing I have to go record somewhere. It's obviously I have to bring my drums with me, but it's kind of one of those things since drums and other percussion instruments obviously are heavy, and since obviously there's a lot of percussion instruments, it's kind of like whenever we don't have to move a whole lot of stuff, it's a good thing. And so that's kind of why I like to have a home studio. And kind of the design of the studio, I think that I would have to put the studio as kind of like a attachment to the house, or kind of put it in the basement. Well, kind of the first thing is just kind of like if I built my own home, then I would probably put it in a basement just because of no one hearing me as much. And then if I was somewhere else, then I would probably make it as an attachment to the house or kind of have it separate just because of um, I was already the house being built as it is. And so currently I have um well, here's my setup primarily is my drum set, which is it's a PDP Maple Concept, which that costed me $600. And then um I currently have four Shure SM57 mics, and I have one for my snare drum, my tom, at least my rack tom anyway, and then one for my floor tom, and then one for my cymbals, which each one's practically $100 per mic. And then I also have a Shure Beta 52A for the bass drum, and that currently for each one costs roughly $190. And so, even though the mics are kind of at least cheap for mics, kind of already it's kind of $500 basically for, well, it'd be more like $600 as it is in mics. And then for my audio interface, I currently have a Behringer UMC 404 HD, which, depending on which website you go to, I've seen it around like $150 to $175. So, kind of adding that up, it'd be $750. And then I also have a MIDI Plus i61 piano, which I primarily use it for either practicing on stuff for classes or notating musical ideas that I have into musical or Sibelius, or do a little bit of recording if I feel like it. And I think the piano costed me $90-ish. So with that, would be like $840. And then I also have a Yamaha electric bass. And it's a 4-string. I do not know how much it costs, since I got it as a Christmas gift a few years ago. But I'm guessing it is at least $300. So it'll be $1140 anyway, as far as that goes. And then I also have a Zoom H1N portable recorder, and I think those won about $120. And so it'll be $1,260 as far as everything goes with that. At least with my current setup. And as far as my gear in my dream setting, I also have all the stuff that I currently do have, just because obviously having it already. And then I would get the Focusrite Octoprite audio face, just because or at least in addition to the Behringer, because I like to at least connect more than just four um, mic plugins that goes with the Behringer. And also, I also want to have more than 4 hours, just because I would like to have other people come to my studio and um, I think it would be a good thing to have a extra audio face just because of that. And also with the um, kind of with the big audio face and mic devices, at least in my recording area, I like to have a Audient ASP4816. Now those cost around $19,000. So obviously I like to save enough money to get one of those. And kind of backtracking a little bit, the Focusrite Octoprites cost around $440. And so, yeah, I like to have an Audient 4816 just because it definitely gives me more than enough room to get everything that I need into. Everything as far as mics and everything, if I need to do that. And then also if I wanted to have like a lighter travel option, I like to have a Raving MTI just because of it. With that device, it just seemed more user friendly as far as travel and just came easy to people and seemed really easy to use and everything, along with the Audient 4816. And at least with that cost in particular, those would cost around $2,000. So, kind of with the two audio faces alone, it'd be $21,000 plus the Focusrite Octoprites, which would be $440. And then it'll be $21,440 plus the current mentions that I said about $1,260. So that'd be 22,000. At least it'll probably be, I think it'll be around $22,700 ish. And then, as far as other mics go, at least as far as guitars, I would like to get the Router R10s for the guitars because they really do sound good, at least for the guitars, just because I felt like they gave a full sound as far as having an even balance between high range and low range and everything like that. And as far as sceneries, I would also go with the Shure SM57s just because of I think it would go well with singing as well. And then as far as I think I'll also use that Shure SM57 for trombones just because I think it gives like a full sound. No, it kind of, at least for trombones particularly, it kind of gives like a full yet direct sound, if you will. And then, as far as trumpets and saxophones, I'm wanting to go with the Coles 4038 mics, which each of those cost $1,000. So kind of depending on how many saxophones or trumpets we need. It just kind of depends on how many people are coming. And then for the piano, I would go with the PM40s just because, again, I feel like it's kind of the best mic as far as my ears. More of the fact that it gives me for those mics give me like a full sound and kind of a beautiful range of styles of music. And with some of the other mics, I feel like it kind of just stuck to just more of the mid-range or kind of sounded like a staccato-y kind of noise. And so I think with all the mics that's with all the equipment that I would need, I think all of those would probably cost around $40,000, give or take, probably, just depending on all who's there and everything. And also with, I've also forgot to mention, with basses in particular, I'm also going to go with the Shure Beta 52As, just because of, again, with the low tones and everything, like with the bass drum, I would like to have the Beta 52As get the full sound from the bass and everything. So, and then I think with the specific room designs, I think I would like to have, I also like to have a main area. And I would like to use the main area as kind of like if we think of the center. Well, I like to have like the main room being kind of in the center, and I would at least like entering primarily through the door, at least the main door. I'll probably have trumpets be on, at least like winds in general, be on the left hand side. And then at least also have the guitar kind of further down on the left hand side. And then kind of straight ahead of you in the back, I would have the piano. And then I would have, at least on the right hand side, be like my recording studio. And then at least kind of in between the I also have like separate rooms for drums, bass, and the singers, just because I wouldn't want any at least noise leakage or anything, and just because I don't want anybody to be too crowded in the main area. And I guess also with everything, I would like want the every musician to have kind of like headphones, at least custom made headphones, just because of, well, either custom made or kind of like headphones, just so that we can all hear each other and everything like that. And then at least kind of throughout the room, I would have at least plugins, and I would also have like, as far as like electrical outlets and like at least kind of like the wiring and everything. I would kind of like to have the wiring within the walls so that I would not have like a whole lot of um, messiness in the studio, and I have like all the wiring go into the recording center. And then yeah, and then do all its magic as far as that goes. And I also have a little bit of indent into the studio, at least in the walls, so I can have enough room to do that kind of thing. And then, as far as resources go, as far as like mics and everything, I mean, obviously the ones I mentioned were mine preferences if I had a dream studio, but I would have at least as far as mic choices, I would probably ask people, ask around as far as what kind of mics would best work for them, just because I wouldn't know necessarily, no, besides my own research as far as what they would want. I mean, obviously, if I was bringing people in, I'll probably want to ask them, like, hey, which mic do you use? Just because I like to work towards their preferences besides, instead of having to, um, having them use a new mic that I haven't used before. And then also with construction wise, obviously I would ask someone to help me, just because, at least someone professional who knows how to build music, like home studios, just because obviously I don't know how to build any good studios, and so obviously it'd be a good thing to know as far as what, um to do that. And also kind of with, um I mean, I also um use other resources to help me out with other things too, as far as like floors, or what the best type of, sound muffling is. And at least kind of with some research, I kind of found that hickory is kind of a good kind of wood that would not scratch up anything. And well, obviously if I built a separate building, obviously I would like, at least with, um walls and ceilings and floors and all that, obviously I'd like to have at least, um probably at least a couple layers of plywood, and probably some foam in between, obviously with air gaps in between, obviously. But also I kind of want to, at least as far as condensing stuff, I'd probably use like metal rods as well to kind of help, um keep everything in place. And, um kind of, well, I guess that's kind of part of the acoustic treatment that I like to have as far as everything goes. And so, as far as like companies in general, I mean, I also have to get the best in everything, best and stuff. But I think it'd be beneficial for me, at least kind of depending on where I lived, at least hiring a company that would be close to wherever my hometown is, just because of having the company not come as far and all that. And obviously with me in Illinois, well, at least living in Illinois at the moment, well, at least from out of school and everything, I'd probably choose a company either from St. Louis, Indianapolis, or Chicago. That's kind of like my main music soundproofing workers. And so, I think without further ado, I think at least in my opinion, is that were my dream studio, if you will, I think it would be at least how I would set up my studio and what equipment I would choose and everything. And thank you for listening.